In many parts of the world, finding an affordable place to live has become a distant dream. The cost of housing, both for renters and buyers, has skyrocketed in recent years, far outpacing wage growth. For example, in the United States, the median home price has increased by over 40% since 2010, while median household income has only grown by about 15% during the same period. This affordability crisis is not limited to any one country or region. From London to Sydney, from Toronto to Berlin, people are struggling to keep a roof over their heads. The consequences of this crisis are far-reaching, impacting individuals, families, and communities. When housing costs consume a large portion of income, it leaves less money available for other essential needs such as food, healthcare, and education. Families are forced to make difficult choices, sacrificing their well-being in order to keep a roof over their heads. The stress and uncertainty of housing instability can have long-term impacts on physical and mental health. It can also lead to social isolation and community breakdown. To understand the roots of the current housing crisis, we need to examine how housing has been transformed from a social good into a financial asset. For much of the 20th century, governments played a more active role in providing affordable housing options, recognizing that secure and stable housing is essential for individual and societal well-being. However, in recent decades, there has been a shift towards market-driven housing policies, with a greater emphasis on homeownership as a means of wealth creation. This has led to a decline in public investment in affordable housing and a rise in the financialization of housing markets. As housing has become increasingly financialized, it has attracted large institutional investors, such as pension funds and private equity firms seeking high returns. These investors often view housing as just another asset class, rather than recognizing its fundamental social value. The influx of capital into housing markets has driven up prices, making it more difficult for ordinary people to buy or rent a home. This has exacerbated existing inequalities, as those with access to wealth and credit have benefited disproportionately, while those on lower incomes have been priced out. The Doughnut Economics model helps us understand the housing crisis, highlighting the balance between social needs and ecological limits. It shows the shortfall in affordable housing and the environmental impacts of construction. Gentrification displaces lower-income residents, pushing them to distant suburbs with limited amenities. This spatial inequality is exacerbated by the concentration of wealth in city centres. Section 4. Community-led solutions reclaiming housing for the people. Despite the challenges, there are inspiring examples of communities coming together to create innovative and equitable housing solutions. These community-led initiatives recognize that housing is a fundamental human right, not a commodity to be traded for profit. One such model is the Community Land Trust, or CLT, a non-profit organization that owns land and leases it to residents at affordable rates. CLTs ensure that housing remains permanently affordable, even as market values fluctuate. Another approach is cooperative housing, where residents collectively own and manage their housing units, sharing in the responsibilities and benefits of ownership. These community-led models prioritize affordability, democratic governance, and resident empowerment. They demonstrate that it is possible to create housing systems that work for people and planet, not just profit. Section 5. Housing is a human right, a call for collective action. The housing crisis is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. It is a crisis of affordability, of inequality, and of sustainability. We need a fundamental shift in our understanding of housing from a commodity to be traded to a human right that must be guaranteed for all. This requires a multifaceted approach that addresses the root causes of the crisis, including the financialization of housing markets, the lack of investment in affordable housing, and the spatial inequalities that perpetuate the donut effect. We need governments to step up and prioritize the provision of affordable housing through public investment, regulation, and innovative policies. We need to support community-led initiatives that are creating equitable and sustainable housing solutions. And we need to challenge the dominant narrative that treats housing as a commodity rather than a fundamental human right. By working together, we can create a world where everyone has a safe, affordable, and sustainable place to call home.